My small hand is held in your cavernous fist. I look to the rim of the sky, to where the communal rice barns first appeared. The tree of our heart is for all, you filthy remnant of a world, you small house, you night walkers, you shit of a newspaper, you cold, windy 1st of July. I open my mouth and it melts away like copper. The shiny gets after it's been slept or sweated in. Hard to describe. Like I said, this is my version of the Communist Manifesto. Here are the people I want to protect. If you use your language on them, I'll fucking kill you. Life is very precious, even now. The harpooned whales float around us like dark, empathetic hills. Syllables, like millennials, washed up in the unborn imperium. The illegal Ukrainian coal mines shadow our throats with their flip sides. This incinerator of ideologies may be called reality. Its empire is absurd and its psychically broken youth signifies art. Ropes seamlessly in the mind. Attempt to fall asleep and wake up metaphors. Holy fuck, you're dumb. Standardized. Travel every day on the metro, thinking of the party that isn't. Everything is filled with oblique color, restless change, reality. And though I cannot write a single fucking line of cable able to communicate this power, like foam tossing burned color, then can't now, not anyway. Not the restless oblique colour, not the basal youth NFT metabolism and the graffiti and trash. Now I and you and all of us fall down. Jakarta, Miami-Dade, 1998. In this world there are no nights of truth. Now the wind is on fire. Show me the coffee cups on the bed, the bottles of pills on the sill. Till we die, desire will vomit emptiness and poverty and literature blessed with stupidity and impatience and baseless paranoia. But keep it chill. The windless archipelago, the windless archipelago in the palm of your hands reveals itself. And in their apartments, people battled for their life like perishing polar explorers. In their Range Rovers, the poets are all dying of non-lethal technologies and references to recent political events. Whatever. The state defends culture because it costs nothing to protect. In other words, because it's free. Kick its head in, kick its hypercholesterolemic head in. You see? Anything they can protect at no cost is suspicious. 2 milligram threshold, clean ocean, tetrahydrolinolols, checkmate capital. I clean my fetal tissue from the bed, the ice season, the giant red ferns grow luxuriantly, the first Google engineers to set themselves on fire, 100 ravenous laws about things you'll never see, a demo that never happened, a bizarre epiphany feeding like cells of a placenta on some more basic truth. 2. The novel of the future. It's a play. The poem Tar and Black Floodlights Start to Rain is pumped up from the earth in a vast orange ring, moving among the inert metal of pumps and lines and distillation chambers. 0.04% the feeling of oars in my hands, 0.02% the smell of bamboo. If you breathe it in, you become blurred and vicarious. If you read it, hail falls suddenly in the living room. I think so. I like to think so. All the same, I don't want that shit in my mouth, you know. The Communist Party Ukraine opposed the EU association agreement because it would have entailed the legalization of gay marriage. Surprise, fuckers, you just want a resort holiday in Benidorm and Crete. Paradise is flooded with light from that damn sun, and there's no roof on the world. Peleus, let me go to my bier of fire, ascending its scented peak. Peleus, pale pink Peleus. Shit, that's not poetry. Dead ideas appear in elegant garments with no asperity or daring. In my mouth, there are so many things I'm trying to come to terms with. Lively nights on the Algarve's famous strip. Then the drivers of Audis and even of Volkswagens appear. They shit tears into our long and slim abdomens, black tears. It's so hard to talk about it. Fuck it, let's just press the dismiss button. Fuck it, let's just pick pale pink roses on the high helium drives of this lonely city and this poor neighbourhood no one believes in. It is real with its gravel drives, its long meadows and wide gravel mirage. Nobody exists. There's an EU association agreement that says, I don't want that shit in my mouth, you know. The tears were moving in my abdomen. I looked to them. They leave no footprints in the alien dust, downtrodden grass. Oh thou, sacred ether, and thou, jaunty wind, you bums. We're in a perpetual state of having to hollow each other out. Nameless things, self things, emptiness, abuse. This game contains instances of. Our eyes are perfectly dry. We felt the city had machines trained on us. We could hear their echoing tears move through our abdomens like gas station dick pills. You know, hail falls suddenly in the living room. Nobody's alive. Everybody's abused. It moves through our bodies like ketamine, through heavenly domains of negation, in torn apart domes of force cinder. Our abdomens. Prove it. I've got documents. Fuck. It's all so hard to describe. If the flowers are, can you imagine? Party members. How will it be in the concrete underpass? At the city, trains colour restless change, crawl through Holodomor snow. It's so hard to talk about. This game contains instances of treble America hates the contrapasso upwards in central fire, destroying all depth that comes near him. In my core, Pia ur sperare dolorum shooting range inside the appointed sky slows. This naked green Western Toyota Cruiser. Something is wrong, it's true. I cut off my elite wings with a knife, but there's a whole class of us born with this yellow badge. Tar and black floodlights start to rain. I'm touching it over his jeans as poverty materializes out of the floor. Jade dances. At midnight, the slum palace draws near. You have to feel your way. Where we come from, where we go now, the unlovers who pick up the pieces, that's who we are. We have learned that because we were dead then and now not really. In the flame phase of the villanelle we wrote in the waiting room, a glass ceiling, the uppermost, it's never finished and it never acquires meaning. Don't say that word to me. We have loved, we have lowered, slower like strings of syringed instruments. We have risen these quad bikes through the blue and tan floodlights. And at 6 degrees, the black and white river rises. We are what we are, so here it is. The stage is now bathed in red. That act of clemency is shown in the style of an execution. Oh, my friends, one day I took off my borrowed dress of words and sailed into the ice. I knew that there was a line in it somewhere that would make everything better, but I was sick and in terrible pain. Black floodlights start to rain, and as days slip by in quick succession, I found nothing that I hadn't already written, in red and then silver, silver and then blue, blue and then silver and silver. I wanted to touch the ice, but it said, no, I can't. The giants who fell are trapped. They appear in the sounds of darkness and in the house of the enemy. Then I would learn to speak in my own language through the dome which turns red and then silver, silver and silver and blue. Then tar would fall in the protective dome above the shooting range, fires flaring. Then boats would be tangled in strange banners as their prows appear over mountains of winter. Too many visions, not enough class struggle, vice versa. But no more journeys. For what you need is right here. Among the wreckage of our destroyed feelings, we find ourselves. Our lives are exalted and we weep. The struggle for freedom shows a torch that still burns in you in spite of your doubts, your uncertainties. For you know that when they try to take from you not only what you need, but also your desire for it, all doubt is an end and we go for the fucking throat. No. The giants who told me this are trapped. They appear in the mountains of darkness and the winter of the palaces. The stage is empty and there is no correspondence between the stars and the disposition of men. I've long since found the line, though my friends the angels say it is not one of my best. The protective dome in the invisible world is nothing but a shooting range in the invisible one. Everything is bathed in silver. Shit, tears, you've sprained your wings. Grief and joy are holes in this ordinary life. Grey tracksuits falling down our arses. I fingered myself so hard I see stars. I'm someone else's midnight roses and nevers and bars, for all the world is covered in edited phrases, the walls of metropolitan art galleries, ceilings. It leaves me cold. Shit, so hard to talk about. The end of the structure is a hole through which you can see the jewels of heaven, of Havilah and Eden, Raven's Brook, Wadi el-Natrun. It is necessary to fight them in the streets of eternity, my nouns and verbs, but don't desert. I have a theory of art. This is someone else's life. You just stitch wings on and throw them inside us. A final shot lingers on the structure as it sinks into the orange final museum. There's no language anymore. It has to be invented all over again. Disintegration right to the innermost core. The yellow giants undulate, grow disproportionately tall, contort their bodies, and then shrink under a flickering light that accentuates their aneric aspects. They'll call it internet porn, someone else's experience. And in the midst of it all, our love stands unhurt as the bullets pass through them like simple statements of fact. So that was the phone. Maybe it's a bit more cheerful, I don't know. This is the last part of the last poem in this book, which is called Loading Terminal. 4. 1,000 years later. We speak the new dialect now. Trains ride silently through the cancer wards by night. The destroyed armoured vehicles weep in the emerald shadow of the meat markets where the antigens all wore off, tiny, flowing, evolving flowers that never cease. I can't keep them, and so I throw out my hands and they fly out over the ramparts, virtue signalling silently tore through the freight ships and four-lane motorways, the materials research labs and science parks and business parks, all gone now. In the new film by Benny and Josh, there is a perfect replica of time and space. We cried when we saw it. In the great market, the greenhouse cried and evolved a winter garden from tiny red bits. Above us, the bloody pink tracksuit of the sky cried, and thick fires contend with rain. Of the poem, you ride through everything I make, the rain, the ordinary meeting, there's really not much more to say. The main arterial road fucks and shits money like rains blown on an emerald wind, and the shadows cast by the greenhouse lengthen our nights as a new era begins on all fours. The lump we had found then spread rapidly, undetected, through 1,000 metal detectors. Its fine silk strings turn in the dusk's emerald winds. Drunks stagger on the gold surface of their antipsychotics. They see, they do not. Of the poem Original's boyfriend hoodie stained with breast milk, come quick, only a ton of pig aluminium remains, rained upon in a loading terminal. It cannot move us. We know that there was something there, even though we no longer see it, spreading down my spine and in my breast like a simple silk string. Of the poem Shove Your Art, the wind and the thick fires contend with it. Antipsychotic gold lumps grow on it. It vibrates and the metal detectors all buckle beneath stained with breast milk skies. We watch as people disembark from the train. They rush through 1,000 prisons to the future anterior and look back at the metal detectors. They have passed through them, but their trauma has not. It is detained by those gates as the unfossilizable parts of organisms that are remembered by amber. Thus they can judge of themselves that which is eternal and that which annihilable. The limited structural capacities of our movements are overcome. The lump spreads like new wings, and thick fires contend with rain. In the new film by Benny and Josh, there is a perfect replica of time and space. We cried when we saw it. In the great market, the greenhouse cried and evolves a summer garden in tiny red bits. Above us, the bloody pink tracksuit of the sky cried, and thick fires contend with rain. But they were tears of joy, not of anger or of rage. The last episode of the podcast Red Scare has filled this time and space, exhausting it 1,000 times over. As we watched from the summer garden, we knew that it would remember everything, even what I am thinking now, that there is a poetry corresponding to every mental state, every circumstance, every amount of available energy. Only certain forms can be taken from us, not poetry itself, since poetry is the registration of what has been taken and so gains from what we lose. Even the strongest and deepest thinking poet can only write strong and deep thinking poems, but there are 1,000 other kinds. Even 1,000 of them is nothing to be proud about. And we look back across the metal detectors, we are no longer afraid of becoming. Of the poem, This Is Our Art, not much is left. Only these amber and white dots still fall on the surface of the lake, reminding us of the giant empty ship that once moved there through thousands of gold surfaces and corroding fire. We are no longer afraid of becoming. We are no longer afraid of becoming. This thought passes to us like the shadow of an emerald. It radiates from the essence of everything, like the wish not to be like them. It is itself essenceless, and the two thoughts struggle in the night like thick fire and rains. And this is our art, cooled to the point of being able to touch it without burning on the giant empty ships or in the large cellular vans. Did you really think they didn't need it? Secretly, they read it every night, their giant iron mines spread out around them. In the great market of bodies, no more of them will be coming, and in the peeling platinum suburbs of greenhouses, the helicopter ferries soil the night. It is as if the new film by Benny never happened. That pitiful shit is washed off and new rain falls, but a fire was. Of the vast iron wall, well, that's where we are now. A Vice documentary crew captured everything as it happened. We passed through the final security gate into the new elevators. The last shipment of emeralds departs and lovers in the audience weep tears into the inbred sea as it rises in fury and trembling, overflowing the market of bodies. Its phantom waves pave it, leaving this flat iron surface of which today we walk, crying tears of joy, not of rage. We come and go as we please. No rain will scan us. We put on our night jacket and went up. The cameras linger on us. Last rains run away in calm, gentle, error-prone streams towards the lake's golden and antipsychotic surface. It is as it seems. We kneel and trace the slogan, I am no longer afraid of becoming. As for the cunts whose food is carried to them up 1,000 stairs, I guess it's true they don't exist now, but the wish not to be like them isn't something I can really feel anymore. It's like something in us has been set free. The rains fall, but the fire will not be. Loading terminal. The prison trains reach their ghost destination and the pigs all disembark. Now they look around themselves in curiosity and many tons of stored pig iron, aluminium podcasts play over the intercom, but they don't hear them. I now lay down the pen with which I've written this clumsy account. My presence will soon be effaced from this earth. I believe that every real phenomenon continues as such to exist, even though it be obliterated in eternal actuality. There is now poetry corresponding to every circumstance, every physical state, every degree of energy, to every new species of sea. The wars between the high-rises have ceased without producing even a single golden slogan. And as for me, Well, there was a time in my life when I was so afraid of beautiful moral appearances that I couldn't tear my eyes off the greenhouse, and the cunts of frieze who work in my mind wept their steel tears beneath a metal detector arch. But not now. I'm not afraid of becoming anything now. Even this, even a wish not to be like them, shifts beneath these shitty allegories like bones changing beneath surfaces of our skin. So that antigens wear off in snows of precious stones. But what now? So virtue signalling silently tore through the freight ships and four-lane motorways. But what now? Is there nothing to hate but the appearance preventer? Not even. Later, behind this vast iron wall, a tiny red bit of negation in a vast greenhouse of nihilism appears. It is about 1,000 metal detectors away. We see it slowly filling the greenhouse with its light. A new day begins. New poetries begin to be written. But shoved there now, it grows brighter and ever increasingly brighter, and we race down the wall towards the loading terminal where the trains all depart. Intellectual warfare. Back to the start. That's it. Thank you.